Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Clue Crew podcast. My name, as always, is Katie, and I am here with my regular pals, Allison
Hey.
and Maddie.
Hello.
And this week we have a very, very special guest. You might know her as Abby.
Hi, guys.
Yes, it's Locked Charmstrong, the woman herself, the creator of the Clue Crew playthrough, the reason that we are here, the reason that this podcast exists. So we owe you everything. Really,
Seriously?
really
No.
appreciate you.
We really
For
do,
real.
though.
Anyway.
Well, thank you. That's nice to hear someone out there does.
Well, absolutely. You are very, very loved and appreciated in the Clue Crew. So thank you so much for being here. Really excited to hear what you have to say about White Wolf of Icicle Creek, the game from last week. So yeah, what do you guys think? What are some overall thoughts?
For me, I refused to play this game for like 10 years. Because it was the game that came out right as I was getting on the message boards as like an 11-year-old. And I remember I must have posted something on the wrong board or something, and a mod like chewed me out for it. And their icon was like ISIS. And I was like scarred. And I would not play the... Like, I can't play the game with a wolf.
No!
Can't do it.
She traumatized you.
I vaguely remember someone with the icon of ISIS being kind of aggressive on the message board. So I'm wondering if that was a reoccurring issue that she had.
Maybe. Who knows? But I've since seen the error of that, and now I really enjoy this game. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think this game I have not played this game in a very long time. But it's a lot better than, I remember it being. I think I always kind of played it and was like, yeah, okay. And, I never really, it was never really high up on my list, but it's a lot better than I remembered.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite games. Sorry. My dog is now attempting to eat my food again. Sorry, give me a minute.
You're good. It's actually interesting because the last time that I played this game, it's actually number 12 on my list because of the last time I played it. I really, really loved it, and I had such a good time. This time, though, I didn't like it as much. So I'm not sure why that is. I just kept noticing as I was playing it that I had more criticisms than praises for it. Which, it's like, I still like the vibe. And there are certain things that I like about this game, but I do think it has dropped a couple of notches for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, I really enjoy this game, but I think it's more, for some reason, I find it really relaxing. I think it's the snow vibe and being in a resort in Canada. And I mean, I guess a lot does kind of happen. Like, there are explosives and things that are going on and a wolf. But
Maddie, I'm so relaxed right now as explosions are going off in the background.
You're getting buried in an avalanche.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like, it brings me peace. Maybe it's the background music. And so I feel like I like it for that reason. I don't necessarily know that, like, it's the most high quality of the games.
I will say the music in this game is amazing. I know we say it every part, but like this one is really good.
Listen, there's not a game in the series that has bad music. It's just
no, there's not.
No, that's true.
I do, however, I agree that the music in this game is stellar. Like, it really fits the atmosphere, but the music kind of blends together for me for this one. Like, none of the tracks really stand out that much. But if you want to look at it from one angle, that could be a sign of how cohesive the soundtrack is.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Maddie.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Not again. If any of y'all listened to last week.
Girl.
You good?
I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Oh no! It's okay. We're
Oh,
gonna
it's
assume it
fine.
was a fluke this week.
Yes.
It's fine. But yeah, so I think the soundtrack in this game sets the mood really well, and I think it's really cohesive because all of the tracks kind of fall into the same the same genre, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
But yeah, this has never been one of the ones that stands out to me for music.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
But I like it. It's good. I think part of what dropped this game for me recently is how oh my god, this isn't even gonna make sense probably, but it feels so otherworldly to me. Like it doesn't feel like a legitimate Nancy Drew game that you're here to solve a mystery. It's so weird. Like the first thing you do is sign on to be a maid and a cook.
It's true.
No,
And
I totally get that. There is something really odd about, different about this game.
Right, and it's especially in the beginning. That's when I noticed it the most. Like when you first start the game, I was just wandering around I need to clean and cook and what do I do? How do I get started here? It feels kind of awkward.
Not to fundamentally criticize this point, but we did just talk about the haunting of Castle Molloy last week.
True.
Until I just thought it was funny in comparison of you're oh yeah, that's I'm willing to put up with that, but not
willing to put up with a granny on a jetpack flying into my car.
And because Castle Molloy is so wacky that it commits to it. But it's
that's fair.
It's true.
But it's this one is almost slightly left of center. It's just uncanny enough that I feel kind of odd about it.
I definitely agree with you though when you first get there and Chantel immediately tells you that you're both the maid and the cook. I still can't get over that.
How freaking rude is that? Hey Nancy, we're gonna hire you on as a detective, but your cover is going to be free labor. Okay, thanks, bye.
Oh especially when she goes, and we don't have to pay you either. And I was what?
Say what now? I think Nancy should be having her pay double for both services.
Exactly. She needs to send her an invoice.
For real, though.
Although that presents a very interesting question is, does Nancy ever get paid for her services in any of the games?
That's true.
I almost feel like it's implied that she isn't.
Yeah.
I feel it's implied in some of the games that she does get paid, but maybe not all of them.
She's just doing it for the exposure.
Right. But then again, because there are some other games where I feel it's clear that she's not getting paid.
Yeah, that's true.
For Trail of the Twister, doesn't Crowmeister literally pay her in a lifetime supply of Cocoa Kringles?
Yes.
Yeah, they always say the phrase they hired me, but then usually at the end you find out that she just gets something very left of money.
Yeah.
She's they hired me, and what I mean by that is they bought me a Burger King sandwich.
Why she keeps emphasizing the amateur status on her. She needs to do it. Stop it. It's bad for business.
Maybe that's why people don't pay her. She's I'm an amateur, guys. I'm an amateur.
Right.
She needs to say, you know what? I'm a professional. Please pay me accordingly.
Time to up your game, Nance. I thought it was really kind of wild how this game has an entire plot point about a man straight up trying to kill a wild animal.
For real.
It really struck me this time. It's I don't think it fully sunk in on my previous playthroughs, but this time I was just we're really out here. This guy is legit trying to shoot a wolf. It's just, it's a very, excuse me, sorry.
It is really interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm like choking over here.
Oh no! I briefly cut out, and so I thought I wasn't sure if I was coming back in. No, it is really interesting that I've noticed since the playthrough that, especially, I feel like around Icicle Creek / onward in this newer generation of games, that a lot of them seem to have some kind of theme or central message that the game is trying to get at you, which is not something I'd ever really noticed other than in C before. But like in this one, there's very like clearly this narrative, like you said, about kind of like animal treatment and what it means to live with wild animals, and making sure that you're aware that it's dangerous to get too close, and how it really can strongly impact them down the line, the domestication of wild animals. It's really interesting that they really did kind of pick up on these different things to try to enforce throughout the games.
I feel like as a little kid, because how old was I when this game came out? I was like 10. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I was 10.
Yeah, it was like 2007 or something. So.
Yeah. So when this game came out, like, weirdly, I don't know what was wrong with me. I didn't realize that he was straight up trying to murder a wolf. Like, it just didn't register with my kid brain. And so I didn't really think anything of it.
Well, especially because I feel like there's a conversation that you have with someone where you say, like, did you know he's trying to kill this wolf? And they're like, well, it's legal or something. They say something like along those lines. So when you're that young, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is just...
And
I guess this is something that people do.
If it's mentioned kind of...
No!
Uh-oh, no!
We gotta get to the bottom of what's going on with her
I know.
activity. Well, everybody, Maddie has switched to a different microphone, so apologies if it sounds different now, or you're like, wait, what is going on?
Who is this person?
Right. It seems like it was her phone that was disconnecting her from the chat, so we're gonna go with this for this week, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, what else do you guys want to talk about? Well, one super random note that has absolutely no relevance whatsoever, but is something that's always kind of stood out to me, is how you go to that shot that's right there at the ridge, and the mountain looks like a hand. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I think I do.
There's like a mountain off in the distance that literally just straight up looks like a claw reaching out.
Is it Chicken Ridge?
I want to say it's Avalanche Ridge, because I think that's the one that you go to a lot, right?
Oh, on the snowmobile? The one you have to... You do that, right?
Ski tracks are?
The one where you go and find the cabin and stuff in ISIS.
Oh. That makes sense.
I wish I could find a picture. I can't find a screenshot. I have not had luck.
So is this, like, off in the distance? Like, up high it looks like a claw?
Kind of, yeah.
I have never noticed that before.
Same.
Wow. It was like, I noticed it when I was 10, and I just thought it was funny ever since. Don't know why.
Low-key probably was intentional. I feel like they do a lot of little things like that. Back to the maid situation, because I just feel like we need to acknowledge the Chantal versus Paula Santo situation, because I think Paula gets way more hate than Chantal.
True.
I don't think it's deserved. I think it should definitely be flipped here.
Yeah, Chantal is for sure the worst.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, with Paula, she just rubs me the wrong way. But Chantal is just, like, through and through the worst kind of person.
They're, like, two opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, Paula seems more like no nonsense. She gets stuff done. It just may not be in a way that you appreciate.
Yeah.
Chantal just seems incapable and like also just flings things at you and seems to have no concept of actually running this business.
No.
She also
Yeah.
doesn't seem super concerned about most of it. Like, her biggest concern is that her father is going to be disappointed in her, not the fact that her bunkhouse blew up and one of the guests could have been inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Chantal is literally the worst Nancy Drew boss ever.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Also, she hired Tino.
Yeah, because
Oh,
get
true.
my quote. He was
It's like-
charming. What?
What a choice that her made.
I need to. There are so many good characters. Why did they bring back Tino?
Why Tino?
Why? I'm sure some of it was voice actor availability, maybe, but I don't know, man. Nobody needed Tino again.
No, not at all.
Also, that survey. What was that survey?
For real. What does that have to do with anything?
It killed me this go round. I was dying. How do you do that thing without having to set your alarm 8 times? It was so confusing. First of all, because I didn't even get to the survey until after Guadalupe left. So
Same.
Yeah,
mean,
that's
with-
usually what happens to me.
And like there is no dialogue option to ask her about everything that you need to know from her. So you just gotta guess, whatever. Can't ask her about paprika or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I get up in the morning, right? Literally, Yanni is the only one who needs housekeeping. Oh wait, or is that a different point? No, that's for that point. Yeah, Yanni's the only one who needs housekeeping. So I can't even find out which side of the bed the other two wake up on.
That was the hardest part for me this playthrough. I could not get people to request housekeeping.
Yes.
And I low-key think it was because I was intentionally kind of setting my alarm excessively to be able to skip cooking, because if you sleep through the cooking hours, you don't have to do the cooking.
Really?
Oh, smart.
That's good to know.
I did not know that.
So if you come like back to the lodge at 11 and then sleep till 2, you've passed the hour that you should have been cooking, and you don't get in trouble for it. But like, I just kept excessively skipping through days so that I could be in that large chunk of time between lunch and dinner. And I think somehow the game like caught on or something, where I think you must have to do certain number of like cooking activities so that people will request more housekeeping. But I got stuck in like an endless loop of trying to cook for people and then trying to sleep, and I could not get anyone to get the towels for the ISIS situation or to do the bed sleeping either. I had to look up something for that because I just gave up at one point.
That one happened to me too. Only one of them requested housekeeping when I needed to get the towels.
Although I did read when I looked it up that it's not necessarily something that you're supposed to gather from the housekeeping. That part of it is apparently you're supposed to look at what side of the bed the slippers are on in different rooms. And that can also be used to tell what side of the bed they get up.
Oh, that's so smart. Why haven't I thought of that?
Which I would also have never thought of if I hadn't have looked it up.
Yeah, dang. That's like big brain.
I know. Some people out there, like, really, they know.
The heroes we don't deserve.
Like, it really makes sense, but I just wouldn't have thought of it. That's wild. And then the other thing with the survey that I couldn't get, or not that I couldn't get, but that really annoyed me because I was trying to get it done, like, in one day, is that it was time to cook dinner. So I did dinner, and Bill didn't order a salad, so I couldn't put paprika on his plate.
Dang it.
I was so annoyed. But yeah, it was such an ordeal, like crazy. And then, see, I told you I have more criticisms. Because another thing that kept driving me crazy is like the scheduling in this game. It felt so like random. Like, I'm sure it's not random, but I felt like I could never find anybody except for
I agree.
Ollie and
Yeah.
Yanni.
Well, in other games where there's like they're only there for a certain amount of time, usually you can find in the game where it'll like tell you like, or someone will say like when Nigel's in the library and they tell you what times he's usually there or whatever. But in this
Right.
one, you just have to figure it out.
Yeah, or even like I think in Royal Tower they don't explicitly tell you the hours that Lisa's there, but she's there for like the majority of the day. So it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any consistency to it. Like, I was trying to figure out the time frames, and I think I just ended up getting lost in it.
Yeah, the same thing. I had the same experience with this one. The only things that I did take mental note of is that Bill Kessler was there at 10 a.m. and he was also there at 4 p.m., but he was not there during or directly after lunch hour. So I don't know if that's consistent or if it's just one of the random things that are randomly generated for when he's gonna show up. But it's seriously, yeah, it's just feels so hard. Like I never know when to find anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Lou and Guadalupe are hardly ever there, but you know, like before they leave the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
The only consistent one you got is Yanni, and I really don't want to talk to him most of the time.
Yeah, seriously, him and Ollie in the basement, like they're pretty much always there.
Really, we should have been more suspicious of the fact that Yanni, cross-country skier extraordinaire, is never actually out cross-country skiing.
Yeah, just polishing his skis. And obviously I understand that this does not automatically incriminate him over the others, but the fact that her whole evidence point the whole time is I need to find somebody who owns a black ski suit. It's like I think it makes sense that out of everybody, Yanni would most likely own a black ski suit.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Like, not that nobody else could too, but.
My other point with the surveys that really irritated me for some reason this time is that it's for nothing at the end of the day.
Yes!
That's true.
Absolutely nothing from this. And if that's going to be the case, and Nancy willingly admits that she makes up answers to some of them anyway, because you can't get them from Guadalupe, like, why can't I just make up answers for the whole thing and have my 1 minute of spite over Tina?
Right?
Because, like, I would love that as a dual option. If he's gonna make up stuff anyway, like, I would love the opportunity to play it where I actually get the answers, and then another one where, like, it tells him something crazy because I just made everything up, but he still accepts it.
Yes, I agree. It did occur to me when I was playing this time. I was like, this whole survey thing feels like they're, like, trying to milk for length.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Katie, on just having a lot more criticisms of it on a whole. There were a lot of almost buggy things that I noticed this time around with the game.
It just made it feel really inconsistent and difficult to get a handle on.
Mm-hmm. It honestly made me feel back to, like, obviously not at the same level, but with Stay Tuned for Danger, I kept trying to trigger things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And even if those things were just to get someone to be back in the same location.
Right.
And like you said, there didn't seem to be any kind of rhyme or reason to a lot of it.
Agreed. We were talking about Yanni a bit earlier. And I did think it was interesting on this playthrough because, wait, what was my point? Oh god, I lost it. I read my, like, brief note and now I'm just like, what was the point? I don't know, y'all. He told you the story about the wolf eating his grandmother.
Okay, well, on this topic, because I didn't say that you had written it there, the game almost makes a point to, like, imply that he's making it up on the spot.
Right!
Like, I definitely get that vibe, and I don't know how we're supposed to, as players, feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the point that I was kind of trying to allude to is, like, when you think of it one way, it could almost be read as, like, he's coming up with this sob story about being traumatized by wolves. so that you don't ask him about the wolf. But at the same time, it's like, why would he not want Nancy asking him about the wolf? Like, the stuff that he was doing didn't really inherently involve ISIS, did it?
I mean, I think there is a case to be made that he is seriously trying to link the two together in some way, like, because he does make comments, I think, about the wolf is bringing trouble. But actually, I don't know, he does kind of seem to do it more on his competitors, but I guess for me, what gets me is when he leaves the shredded coat in Nancy's closet, where it says to get out now, as if he's really trying to, like, say the wolf shredded this coat.
This is the most ridiculous.
Put it in the closet.
So I think that was supposed to be framing, like, quote unquote, his competitors to, like, supposedly prove to Nancy how, like, dangerous they are or whatever. Because if you go down to the basement when he isn't there, which I did one time, you can look down and there's, like, a crumpled piece of paper at his feet that's, like, a threat message from, quote unquote, his competition or whatever. And it looks almost exactly like the letter that is pinned to Nancy's jacket. So I don't know if that was some kind of, like, weird wraparound way that he was trying to blame his competitors or whatever. I don't know. Really weird.
It is a little weird because it doesn't seem like he knows Nancy is on to him for most. Like, I don't feel like the game really implies that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
It's super weird.
I mean, yeah, because if you think about it, even when Nancy's progressing, she's not really progressing to solve who's causing the accident. She's just progressing to open Trapper Dan's needle more and more.
Yeah, you know, now that I think of it, I guess that is kind of the driving force of the game, isn't it? Get into the needle.
And you just kind of get lucky that that's where the explosives are.
That's wild.
But yeah, Nancy really doesn't do a whole lot to catch this person.
Right?
No. Well, that happens a lot in these games. Like, she gets hired to do something and then goes and does something completely different and just happens to catch the person in the end.
True.
I mean, I guess she does do the brief plot with the dinosaur bones that are getting stolen.
That's
and
true.
working with ISIS to solve that. But I think that's pretty much the extent.
Yeah.
This lodge should really maybe look at. Well, I guess I don't know. Its visitor log was real sketch.
So, are we supposed to believe that Freddy is the one who deleted the entries from last year on the computer? How that's like a whole plot point where the logs from the previous year have been deleted from the computer, and Nancy's like, "Oh, I wonder who did that." And then
they just blame Freddy, huh?
Right? Yeah, you call Chantal. She's
Poor
just
child.
like, "Oh, it was probably Freddy." But it's like, are we supposed to actually believe it was Freddy, or who do we like? Are we supposed to find out who actually did it? Like, I'm confused.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought if anything it could have been if there were more people staking out the area and they didn't want it tied to Fredonia, and like maybe that could have been part of the reason why. But I don't think there's anything to support that either way. It's just kind of a theory.
But kind of on that topic, you asked that question, and my only thought is like, no wonder she wants to help people with snowballs all the time. She gets blamed for everything.
Yes. Poor child's got some anger to work out.
Yeah. Like, anything goes wrong, and the first thing they do is like, it was Freddy.
Honestly, though.
She has one activity, and she lives for it.
Snowballs. But no ice balls.
She just must be running through those toasty packs. Those things do not keep you warm for very long.
Poor girl.
I never even use them. Like, I use one. I use one toasty pack the very
What?
first time that I go out to the cabin because you pick up the journal and I flip through that or whatever in the cold. But otherwise, like, there's no traveling distance that is too far to get without a toasty pack.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you want to like
Yes.
stop and admire the snow for a really long period of time.
Which I really don't care
don't
to do. But I cannot talk about Freddy and Snowballs without letting you know, Maddie, that you're the most brilliant comedian I've ever known in my life for your Snowball video.
I was really trying to find a way to capture how I was feeling the entire time I was playing those snowball games because her whole face gets like squished up and she does like an arm flail, like she's trying to steady herself and then she can't make it and she falls backward and it's so sad and I'm like, Nancy, you just need to help to
What
like it's so much force.
I don't.
You don't even care.
I'm going
She's
to
here
link
for
that video in the description because it is a gym. I literally burst into laughter probably like 4 different times throughout it. It was so good.
I'm so glad because it just got progressively more and more ridiculous as the time went on. Like, it originally just was the 1 second clip of her falling, and then I was like, wait a minute. And then it's like 4 different versions of it on my phone. I know I told Katie this, but at one point, instead of the price thing, I was just saying to go to Teespring, and the URL link is like several paragraphs long of just digits. And I thought just like reading them out, like teespring.com/store/herinteractive_12 semicolon question. It's just shout out to Becca also though for that video because part of the reason was she had made a post the other day about all of the Toasty Pack products that are on the Her Interactive website.
I had no idea that there were so many.
It's an insane amount. My favorite is the baby onesie.
Yeah. Like, why?
This is the perfect thing for that baby shower I'm attending later.
Oh my god!
And because the information is permanently etched in my brain, for anyone who's interested, I can tell you it's $18.99 on the Her Interactive store. Visit teespring.com.
I'm dead.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be filed.
If you ever feel like editing together a master version of that video, please.
I am so down. Yeah. I will say it's gonna be filed under like pieces of information that will be permanently remembered in my brain. But like, I wish on my deathbed that I didn't know the fact that Her Interactive Toasty Pack ones were $18.99. But yeah, here it is.
I mean, there's actually some really cool merch on their page, though.
There is, yeah.
Like, I'm going through it right now. I just got to the Toasty Pack section.
Yes, I love all of the stuff that looks very official. Like, they have a whole, like, the Fighting Manatee stuff from Secrets Can Kill or the Waverly sweatshirt. Those are all really cool things.
They have Rentaro's t-shirt.
Gosh.
Like, I'm kind of here for it, actually.
Today's podcast was sponsored by Teespring.com.
Not an ad.
I was about to say, please sponsor us for Interactive, but they can't even sponsor themselves, so.
Yeah. We're doing free marketing.
Yes, they need it.
You know what, Her Interactive, while we're, like, advertising for you for free, you could always go back to your original point-and-click engine and hire some in-house artists again. That would be cool.
Just yeah.
And,
just
instead of hiding any financial troubles, you could start a fundraiser and let us help you Just
I've
go
already-
do
Literally,
it.
or let us just do it ourselves, honestly. At this
There's
Yeah,
one ad already
yes.
made for you. Like, you're good. You can send it out. I give you full right. You don't technically have rights to the music, but you'll have to work around it. Yeah, but anyway, I just feel so bad for Freddie.
I know.
Nancy's right for the face with, and I mean, we've seen Nancy's muscles climbing those walls on Ran.
Yeah, Nancy is full.
I also want to take a second to talk about how when Lou is not there and Bill is asleep,
Mhm.
and you talk to him and wake him up or whatever, and then you're like, bye, and then he's immediately asleep again.
But
I love it.
My dad, when he's watching something, closing his eyes, ask him if he's awake. And he's like, yeah, I'm awake, and then immediately falls
I've known
that's
people
like
like
such a dad move.
asleep. Same vibes.
Indeed. Once again, Bill Kessler is just another person to add to the endless list of Jonah von Spreeken characters. I feel like this one, he does a very good job at changing or shifting the tone of his voice so
Mhm.
that it's not quite as recognizable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He does a pretty good job in the game of like making himself sound, definitely like different. Like I wouldn't have immediately picked up that was him.
Right. And you know what? While we're at it, how about we just address the strange friendship between Lou and Bill?
Yes.
It's like, it's definitely weird, but it's also kind of wholesome in a weird way. Like, it's like the baby boomer and the millennial just chilling.
Yes.
Bonding over a game and their competitive spirits.
I'm here for it.
Yes.
Go ice, or not ice, ice skating together. Like, it's so wholesome.
It is, right? I love it.
Aside from the dinosaur bone smuggling. part.
Right?
Oh, come on.
It's interesting how this series does it a lot, but also just a lot of mystery narratives in general do this thing where you discover some really shady or illegal thing that a character has been up to, but it gets completely brushed aside because they're not the culprit, right?
Mm.
Mm.
So I feel like this is one of those instances where it's like, obviously Lou was doing stuff that's very much illegal, but the only thing that matters to the actual narrative is that, well, he's doing this illegal thing, so he's not doing the real illegal thing, though. Like, what? No.
That illegal thing.
That's not how it works. I do, however, appreciate how they did like the bait and switch thing again at the end of this game where they made it look like it was going to be Lou.
Yeah, I like that too. Like very Danger on Deception Island vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like that one, they do a good job of kind of the tricking itself too.
Right.
Because I feel like there've been instances where you do have someone that you can rely on, kind of in the end.
Like Grigor in Labyrinth of Lies. It's another topic for another day. Even though he was still involved, but you know what I mean. But another example, I guess, would be Ryan in Deadly Device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the added drama of the device, like you're examining it and discovering that it's gonna blow.
Yeah, the thought that I had this time too was, I was like, what if that thing hadn't fallen off of his arm?
Sad as well. Second chance.
What?
Oh, I said I guess she'd get a second chance potential. I was gonna say it'd be a sad day and there'd be no more Nancy, but then I cut myself. She doesn't die. But but it didn't really work. Sorry.
No. You're good.
What are your guys' like least? Oh, sorry, I lost my mic there for a second. What are your guys' least favorite puzzles in this game? What would you say you least like to do?
The first one that comes to mind, I'm not sure if this is my authentic answer, but it was my first instinct answer, so I guess that counts for something. Is the coin one with the rabbit and the cat and stuff? And the
Yeah.
Ugh, I just. Bleh.
Which one?
The one that you have to do after you get the dinosaur bone to open the passageway with like the coins that you have to slide out to get them in the right order.
I forgot about that. That one's pretty bad.
I don't find that it's too bad on Junior, but it's still annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's horrible on Master. I haven't played it on Master in a while, but I distinctly remember having a really bad time with it.
Yeah, honestly, as someone who enjoys playing the games on Senior Detective mode, I don't think this game you benefit at all from trying to play it on Senior.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is you asked that about the puzzles, and I'm like, there are not that many puzzles, are there?
No, I can think there's the ice flow one, which is my least favorite. I hate that one.
Oh yeah.
I guess Fox and Geese counts.
I hate that one.
The one that the coin one.
Mm-hmm.
The one where you have to tell Isis what to do. She goes through the maze.
Yeah. And
You also have the pyramid too.
Oh,
Right.
the pyramid. Yeah.
Does ice fishing count? No, it does not. It's just annoying, like random chance, so it's fine.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the glacier puzzle because I had legitimately mentally blocked it out after I finished because it made me so viscerally angry. Because there's no way to beat it other than hop around and hope that the correct ones appear.
No, there's like some sort of cheat where it's like anything diagonal. If you jump diagonal, then one's going to disappear or something like that. But even that doesn't make it easier.
So I did not have to second chance that puzzle on this go around. Like, I guess I got lucky for one thing. But I was also keeping that in mind because it's true, like, I guess you don't really know whether one is going to appear or disappear, but it is just something to keep in mind that kind of, it helped me at least, just knowing that whichever, like, direction you hop in, like, that's the line, that's the specific road that's going to be affected.
See, I didn't even feel like I experienced that, though. Like, I felt like I was hopping on things, and things were appearing and disappearing in, like, the back corner where I wasn't touching at all. Well, like, there potentially was something from the diagonal line, which is fair, because I don't really remember that much.
It can be anywhere on the board, but it's still going to be in the same, like, direction. Or, like, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like, when you're not actively paying attention to the fact that it affects the same rows and columns, then I think it could be easy to not realize that that's what's happening. Because it's really subtle, unless you're looking for it. Because I never noticed it either until somebody made a post about it on Tumblr. And so this time, I paid attention to it, and I did notice that that's what was happening.
I just felt like I couldn't get the one piece to appear. And I was like, is this what they're doing to make this a senior detective puzzle? Is that they're like, we're only going to make it appear every 15 hops on this line.
And it's always when you're 2 away. You can't get to it.
Yes.
It disappears on, like, the last jump, and you're like, why?
Why?
Guess I'll die again.
Guess I'll just die.
Yeah, wow, I did forget about that puzzle.
Oh, it's so gross. And I feel like we have to address the Fox and Geese debacle because there's a lot of it.
I did think of another
Very
puzzle,
true.
though, which is the pipes in the sauna, which I love because
Oh.
I love those pipe puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I love a pipe puzzle.
They're so fun, man. Blue Moon Canyon, I am like,
This is
vibing.
another thing. Like, I love a pipe puzzle too, but it's not worth it playing Senior Detective because you will get approximately 20 seconds before you die.
Oh no.
Mhm.
I died so many times in the sun.
It's really fast.
Oh,
So it was
no.
horrible. Like, and I'd just be one puzzle piece away from turning, and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, my takeaway from anything is that out of all of the games, I really don't think I enjoyed playing it on Master Detective because it was just like minor irritations that they tried to make it harder.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like the time limits and whatnot. I don't think the puzzles themselves actually became more difficult in a meaningful way.
That's fair. As somebody who's not a big puzzle person, I think that's probably one of the things that I do like about this game is that there aren't too many puzzles. Like, it doesn't feel weighed down with it. Like,
Yeah, I
feel
agree.
A lot of the games tend to veer in that direction. Like, Sea of Darkness, as much as I love it, and it's one of my favorite games, it does have like a kind of an overwhelming plethora of puzzles.
Yeah, which I think is a problem with the more recent games is like it's like you can't walk 2 feet without hitting a puzzle.
It's like you want to do anything to progress, it's a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I definitely prefer the play style, I guess, of the games that are more like Icicle Creek, in that to progress you need to actually like do things and interact with people or your environment in some way.
I wonder if that also is why this environment seems so kind of peaceful or relaxing to me, is that the puzzles don't seem like super intense or in your face as much. They kind of appear and disappear, and it's very quick. I don't feel like it consumes a whole lot of your time, so it doesn't take you out of the game as much.
Right.
And even Fox and Geese, which is probably arguably the most frustrating one for a lot of people because it's so time consuming when you have to do it 4 times. Like, I still feel like I'm actually like in the lodge chilling with people playing a game at a table with somebody. Like, I don't know, it feels very realistic to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So you were gonna talk about Fox and Geese earlier. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I just think it's so interesting because I think it's another one of those divisive games that people either really love or absolutely hate.
Yes.
I've been on.
It's like nanograms.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on both ends of the spectrum. Like, I remember as a child trying to play Fox and Geese, and I think I, like, made my family do it too, and we were all sitting around trying to beat it, and none of us could do it.
Same.
And in more recent... Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think you're right. I do think it's kind of universal. Like, that seems to be a lot of people who talk about it. But in more recent years, when I finally understood it, I enjoyed it a lot more. And I'm like, oh, this could be fun. But it's still, like, a part of me can't let that experience go of how much I was frustrated as a small kid.
Yeah, I mainly remember having my dad do it with me. We would, like, take turns with the mouse trying to beat it. And knowing that we had to do it 4 times and we couldn't even get it once. Like, yeah, that was not a fun childhood memory. But I am actually someone who genuinely, legitimately enjoys Fox and Geese now. I think, like, it is annoying that they make you repeat it a bunch of times. But at the same time, I don't mind because I enjoy it. But isn't it actually like there's one corner that you don't have to do? Like, isn't that a thing? Like, you technically only have to do 3 of the corners. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. But I would have to check.
I'm not 100% on that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you do have to do it 4 times.
I'm trying to picture the board. Yeah, don't you have to get all of the eyes to light up?
All right, I'm looking at Game Boomers right now. It says you have to play and win Fox and Geese 3 times. corner,
Hmm.
the fox
So
chewing
maybe-
on the moose corner, the pig corner, and the raccoon corner. You don't have to do it in the wolf.
Oh,
Interesting.
that's another thing about Fox and Geese that I think is funny is that when you win, the eyes light up, and Bill will just be like, "Look at that, the eyes lit up," and he doesn't even like question it.
Yeah,
I'd be running.
He's like, "That's
He's
cool."
just like, it's interesting.
What a neat feature.
Right?
I would definitely be like, this is a demon table and it's turn.
It's time to stop playing now.
Yeah. Nightmares for days. Like,
So
Bill's like, take a nap on it.
Yeah. This demon table lit up. Nah, it's
Nice
fine.
little green glow.
Yeah. Perfect for snoozing.
What were you gonna say, Katie?
I'm trying to think now. Oh yeah, something happened to me on this playthrough that has never happened to me before, and it legitimately creeped me out. I was just walking through the lodge, right? Nobody was there. Like,
The footsteps?
yes,
What the heck was that?
that happened to you too.
Yes! What?
Oh my god. Like, I seriously do not recall this ever happening to me in my life until today. And it freaked me the hell out. Like, it was loud.
It was so loud.
Okay, to fill anybody else in who's like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yes.
This was during a time where, you know, you can see the little dialogue when Bill is there because it says, like, sound of snoring, like, pops up at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not there. So Bill wasn't there. This was after Rue and Guadalupe had both already left. But I was just walking around in that main area. I was about to round the corner. And then, but all of a sudden, just footsteps started playing. The sound of footsteps. And it was loud.
What?
It sounded like somebody was walking, like, directly behind me.
And not only that, it sounded like it was getting louder as time went on, like they were nearing in on you and started to sprint towards me towards the end of it.
Oh, God, that's freaking creepy.
Really?
Like, it started really kind of, like, soft and loud, and I was like, oh, is someone doing something? And then it just, like, sped up, like they were about to, like, full-on tackle me to the ground. And I was like, what is
That's
happening?
crazy.
That is terrifying. What the heck? I didn't experience it that. I only heard footsteps one time throughout the entire
It
game.
Twice. The first one sounds like it was identical to what happened with you, and then the second time was the one where it got, like, I was like, I'm about to die right now.
Oh my
And
god.
it was so weird because I had never experienced that either.
Yeah, like, I have not gotten that ever. I mean, like I said, the sound effect was pretty loud. Like, it sounded like heavy boots or something. It didn't sound like, oh, you know, somebody's just off in the distant, you know, way over there. Like, it sounded right next to me. But it didn't sound like they were, like, running at me or anything. But other than that, the only thing that I remembered was I did also, throughout the beginning, I heard, like, slamming doors every once in a while. Which I also did not remember.
It was such a bizarre experience, and, like, I'm really glad you said it because my audio was having some glitches while I was playing it because I was on my really old computer and still had the game downloaded. And I, like, some of the music was glitching and I couldn't hear certain things anyway. And so when it happened, I felt terrible. But I was like, maybe video glitch, that's part of this game. So I don't know, like, if it was legitimately coded in and I've just never noticed it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it must be there. Like, maybe it's triggered by something. If, like, because we both had that experience.
Yeah, so weird.
It's very deliberate sounding. Like, it definitely felt like someone sneaking up behind you.
Yeah, 100%.
That's creepy.
It was crazy. It's weird because this isn't the kind of game that I would think would have anything creepy or unsettling like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of adds to why it was so creepy because I wasn't expecting it.
It's such a chill game, like you were saying, and it's not creepy at all. And then all of a sudden, it sounds like you're all of a sudden back in Saw.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it was very much like same level of intensity for me the second time around, at least, as like the door shaking scene, because those footsteps were coming at me, and like I said, it just got louder and louder, and I was like, I'm about to be tackled.
Oh,
It's
that's so
weird,
creepy.
very bizarre.
So how do you guys actually feel about the process of cooking in this game? Like, I'm not talking about the fact that you have to do it all the time, but like the actual mini game itself.
I really like it. I think it's fun. It's not the best cooking mini game, but I think it's fun.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not my favorite just because we don't have the not recipe, but like the information in front of you. Like
Yeah.
the reason I think the Waverly Snack Shop is so therapeutic is like
Yes.
you can see all of the lettuce
It's
slices.
all right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here, when you're looking at the ticket and you have to go back and forth, it's just it's a lot more hectic, and it's not as enjoyable for me.
No,
I
it's not.
agree. I definitely agree. I sometimes tended to get a little like stressed playing this one. I think it's because I tend to like be all zippy zoom with the mini games that are like cooking or food related in these games.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to like multitask and get stuff done faster that way by having multiple
Yeah.
processes going at once. But because all of the cooking times are so different, for
True.
meals, it throws me off every time. Like those
The French-
fucking quesadillas, they're done in like 3 seconds.
Oh yeah.
See, for me, it's the French toast. That's what gets me. Like, the French toast gives me anxiety. I feel like I put it down, and then, like, it's always ready right when I'm picking up something else.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that too. And the
It's-
Canadian bacon takes forever.
Mhm.
Oh.
Always put those down first.
Mhm. I think the different times would be easier to juggle if you didn't also have to look at the different tickets, like click into the tickets and then back out. And because you do that and you come back and half your food is like done. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then there's so many amounts to remember, so I'll
Yeah.
be in the middle of loading an omelet, and then the toast will start getting ready to burn, and I'm like, oh no, now I gotta go, and I'm like, I don't remember what I put in the omelet already.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so frustrating. I always just like have to try to remember like a couple of numbers at a time. You know, like
Mhm.
if it's an omelet, I don't pay attention to what the ingredients are. I'm just like, okay, 1 3 2 1, 1 3 2 1,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then you have to go and check for the last one. This mini game was really a testament to how bad my short term memory is.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. Yes.
Not good with those numbers back to back. The salads are like the bane of my existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're also like the most unappetizing salads, in my
They
opinion.
look disgusting with all that dressing on it. Oh my
Right?
gosh.
It's hiding up the sins that are the anchovies underneath.
I did like the attention to the detail though that Guadalupe is a vegetarian and she never orders meat.
Oh, that's cool. I
Mhm.
never picked up on that.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I think I want to say maybe it's Ollie who never orders the anchovies. So Ollie doesn't like anchovies is what you take.
Mm.
As one shouldn't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like what gets me is that they look like that's a whole fish that you're
Yeah.
putting. And
Yeah.
those are some large anchovies that you're throwing in those salad bowls.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's just nothing about those salads look good
Mhm.
while you're making that.
I'm more turned off by the salmon. First of all, because I don't like salmon. But second, because even if I were going to eat salmon, I would want it to at least have something on it. Like, you cook them and you look at them on the plate and there's no seasoning. There's no salt. Like, there's literally nothing on
There
it.
could be paprika.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't think you can put paprika on the salmon. I think that's only for the
Oh,
stuff that...
tragic.
Yeah, like, I think you can only put paprika on the stuff that you build, like the omelets and the salad.
Mm.
Which is why I couldn't test Bill Kessler for paprika preference.
Yeah, honestly, just lunch at the lodge. No one should be partaking in.
I think the salmon is dinner,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, is it dinner? I really didn't cook. I slept through every meal.
Yeah, the burgers are lunch.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but Freddie, that girl can eat.
For real.
True.
My
She always
goodness.
has like the biggest plates.
And she's like 6 years old.
Like she consistently out eats the men.
Yeah.
She is a growing girl.
She is. He's getting ready for the winter of all day.
It's true. She's got to have a lot of energy to burn.
Yeah,
Stay
throwing
warm.
I mean, I feel like Toasty Packs can only do so much. It can't be healthy to leave your 10-year-old daughter out in the snow for like all hours of the day.
That's why she eats like 4 slices of Canadian bacon.
Mhm.
With 2 pieces
Takes
of
them with
French
her.
toast and a loaded omelet.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe she's just putting it in her pocket. Keep it with the toasty pack.
Her snacks for later.
Her secret weapon.
Forget ice balls. She'll throw Canadian bacon at you.
Slap.
I'm just imagining that being the sound of the bacon hitting me. Like, I know.
Instead of the cutscene where somebody throws an ice ball at you, they just throw a slice of Canadian bacon at you. And Nancy passes out with a slap sound. Interesting. I'm assuming the ice ball person was Yanni, right?
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Aren't they in the black ski outfit too?
I mean, yeah, their
and
whole
they
figure
get
is
your
black.
jacket.
But they were
I
wearing
can't-
a cowboy hat like Ollie does. And so that's why I was
It's misdirection.
thinking, like, yeah, did Yanni just, like, take a cowboy hat and put it on to make it, I don't know, to spread suspicion or whatever?
I feel like Yanni is doing a lot of that. Like, he clearly, a lot of the things are very intentionally made to, like, make you think it's someone else, which like, maybe, you know, her interactive didn't actually think through who was doing it, but, like, I love the idea that it is Yanni. Because he's just so, like, straight-faced about everything he does.
Right.
Like, now I must put on a cowboy hat. Go throw an ice ball.
Yeah, that would be very on brand for him.
So, you read in the case file that the Raleighs from Shadow Ranch are the ones who suggested that Chantal, right,
Mhm.
hire Nancy, but I don't know that I've ever seen where it like connects them. Like, are they relative, or is there some sort of like Reddit thread for resort owners that need help solving mysteries? Like, I don't know. Is that ever a thing that they talk about ever?
Just subreddit strange animals haunting.
Oh my god.
I
really
saw it
not
because
sure.
I posted about it, and someone said that they think they're cousins, but I don't know. I don't know that I've ever actually seen anything that confirms that.
I don't think I have either.
It was just a random thing they put in as a treat.
As a treat.
You can have an Easter egg as a treat.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think because it doesn't not Lou, the other one. The one who's the other guy at the table? I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names.
Bill.
Bill.
Nancy, though, had no problem walking up and being like, "Are you related to Rolf Kessler?"
Yeah. Also, yeah, another throwback. But doesn't he also say something about his family owning a ranch at some point?
I think that's
Like-
Folly.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Never mind.
Well, maybe it is Ollie that's related to the Raleighs. And they were like, "Oh, hey, there's this girl." And so he said,
Oh, you're right.
Maybe
That's possible.
His wife goes up there in the summertime.
maybe.
Right,
Down to
right. He said that
Shadow
his wife
Ranch.
goes south. That would make sense. I mean, if Ollie's a
I mean-
rancher, then maybe he's the connection to the Raleighs.
Yeah,
I could
that
see
makes
that.
sense. I could see that one. And then also in the vein of things that I'm curious about, I have like in the back of my head have like a vague memory of Lou being the one who made Elsa those notes. Like somewhere, I don't know if I saw a post about it or if it was confirmed at any point. In my head, at some point, Lou became Elsa's boyfriend that slashed her tires.
So I think I remember what you're talking about because I feel like I'm not sure why, but I think maybe her interactive like released a screenshot of like the first letter, the pink one where he's like still in love with her.
Uh-huh.
And it was just signed L, and this was after they had released the character profiles. And so I think there were a bunch of community theories where people were like, oh my god, it's Lou. Lou is in love with somebody. But we didn't have the full context yet.
Yeah.
So I think I remembered that was a thing on the boards at the time. But when you
That
call
would
and
make
talk to her in the game, she tells you that his name was Larry.
She says his name is Larry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I've always kind of like in the back of my head, I've always like thought Lou and Elsa like were together. But this time when I started playing it and she was like, "It's Larry." I was like, "Wait a second. Where did that come from?" But that makes sense if it was just a on the board.
Yeah, I want to say it was board speculation because I remember that too, like very distinctly.
I just wanted to ask, what does she tell you when you call her? Because on Senior, you're not allowed to call her. She just never picks up the phone.
What?
Really?
Because I looked it up because I thought it was weird. Because I was like, why am I not getting through to her? I remember distinctly having a conversation, and it like explicitly says if you choose to play on Senior, then she'll never pick up the phone. And I don't
Why?
understand
That's
like what you're.
weird.
Yeah, like why would that be something that they'd be like, oh yeah, senior detectives can't call somebody.
What?
So
the
does she
heck?
give you
weird.
like any useful information?
I don't think so.
No, I think the only thing is that she tells you that one of the listed accidents that, you know, the wolf was behind or whatever is that, you know, somebody's tires got slashed. And I think she confesses to you that it was her ex-boyfriend who slashed her tires out of revenge, but that she played it up as like, oh, it's another accident from the wolf to help her with her insurance claim against the lodge. But I
Yeah.
think that's the only thing that you learn from her that's actually like important.
I just don't understand why they would take that out because
Right.
like it just lessens gameplay and takes away an interesting plot point.
I know. And it's like it's not super important, but it's like important enough to be like, why would you bother taking it out?
Yeah, like it seems an unnecessary
Extra bit.
Especially because you get all those ominous letters. Like I was like, I want to hear the T on L. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like,
god.
those are some-
freaking
those letters are scary.
Yeah.
Those
terrible.
letters are scary. It's like, honey, you need to call the cops.
Yeah.
And they do it really interestingly too. How like the top to bottom is like it's like oh you're like oh this is sweet. Elsie had a boyfriend, and then like you go through and you're like oh they just get worse and worse.
Worse and worse.
Right. Like it is bad. I also think it's funny how like that can technically be one of the very first things that you experience in this game. It's like, okay, gameplay started. We're in Nancy's room. Grab the key, go downstairs, take a look around the desk area, and then you just first thing are affronted with these terrible ex-boyfriend letters that don't
And I think
really have anything to do with the plot.
Yeah, and I think that's why part of it is so, like, it was so dissatisfying to me because I was like, this is literally, like, the first thing I've encountered, and I never get to follow up with this. Like, I just had to read about this horrific, like, relationship that was clearly not okay, and I
Yeah.
get no follow-up context. Like, I hope Elsa's okay, but, like, there's nothing there.
She's auditioning for Canadian Idol.
It also is interesting, just, like, I feel like how much we've talked about how the fact, especially after last week's podcast, that her really doesn't show any positive relationships in these games a lot.
Right.
That's true.
Seriously,
And then,
though.
like, this one isn't even necessary. Like, it's just like, it's just here. Like, maybe they intended to do more with it at one point with
Right.
Elsa, and then, like,
Mhm.
they, like, scrapped it. But even in that, you're like, this is, like, really red flags right here.
Pretty bad. Quite bad. Extremely bad.
Yes.
Who was it though? We were just talking not long ago about like the one positive portrayal of a relationship in the series. Who was that?
The Raleighs.
You're
Just
not
because we
wrong.
were just talking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I guess,
Oh,
basement dude.
It was
Basement.
It was Elizabeth and Magnus for Sea of Darkness week. But anyway. Oh, I also do not enjoy the snowmobiling.
Oh,
I don't
No.
either, which is such a disappointment because I always love transportation in Nancy Drew games.
mhm.
Yeah, this one is just not it.
Yeah, no.
I
It's
have a
the same.
confession. Sorry.
Oh, no. No, go ahead.
I
I'm
was just-
intrigued.
I was about to confess that because of the snowmobiling at the end of this game, I've only ever actually finished it once. Like
I
I
don't
get to
blame
the
you.
very end and she hops on the snowmobile and I'm just like, you know what? I know who it is. And I'll shut it off. Like,
Oh my god.
Good enough for me.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like I was snowmobiling at such a slow pace to get up there the first time to the Avalanche Ridge.
hmm
Mm.
And yeah, it's not. It's like the same level of bad driving controls that you get in Trail of the Twister, but
Yeah.
there's so many more obstacles in your way, and like there's no forgiveness on the fact that you're
Mhm.
about to blow up and die.
Right.
True. Like, at least with Trail of Twister, you've got, like, ample amount of time to get your life right before you die.
It's true.
And the trees are so much smaller. Like the cars, like they just came in occasionally. Like I ran into them and caused pile up bad traffic.
Mhm.
The trees are everywhere and the rocks. Oh, it's not a fun
Well,
time.
and in Trail of the Twister too, all you have to do is like pull into one of those stops and it like resets. If you're
Mhm.
getting close. In
Yeah,
this
true.
one, it's like, don't hit anything else, or you die. You just start over.
Right.
Yep. Also, no one should give Nancy keys to anything. Is what
No.
we're learning.
Her Yelp reviews really bad. She totaled my car.
Right.
She wouldn't be a good Uber driver.
No.
Whew. I mean, she'd get you there fast, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
The car is like on fire and lost all of its siding. She's like, we're here at the airport.
Have fun. Give me 5 stars. Take a water.
Gives you a 5-star just because they're like the pure fear of having them hunt you down in the future.
Zoinks. Let's also like, how about the fact that Ollie is just randomly outside at the one time that you're trying to chase down the culprit?
Yeah.
Like this a whole game he's been in the basement, and now all of a sudden, now that it's convenient,
You got to see the sun one time. He was free, let out of the basement.
I will say something that probably detracted a bit from my gameplay this time is the fact that I just barely read anything. I just did not have the time. Like, you get the Julius McQuaid journal, and then you get the Trapper Dan journal.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not read the Julius McQuaid one at all. I just let Nancy tell me what I needed to know. Because she does that, thankfully. And the Trapper Dan one, I just kind of glanced over, and I did the Railfint cipher a bit. That's it.
I'm so intrigued by Julius McQuaid's story. Like, I would love to hear more about that. I'm another person that usually skips over a lot of the reading, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay, Nancy, you'll let me know. But for some reason, it's just such an interesting story. Like, him and Isis is just so sweet and
It
like
is.
adorable and wholesome, and I love reading about it. And then it's just, oh, it's so sad when you call the hospital, and like this poor wolf is just waiting for him to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks my heart.
Hmm.
But I also am really intrigued as to what he was doing for his research and like how he became a hermit. Like that is also just super fascinating to me.
Was he ornamental? Sorry.
Oh.
It is. It is a very interesting story. I do agree. I just never actually take the time to read it, which is sad. I mean, I was kind of rushing to finish it today, but also I would definitely like to go back and pay attention to it more the next time I play.
I do think again, just because we were talking earlier about kind of like this narrative of like animal treatment and animals in the wild and whatnot. It isn't I feel like they do make a point to mention that his research was animal based. Also, like that they were doing animal testing in the journal. I don't know if anyone else remembers that, which is another like interesting like layer that they're adding on to. It's interesting like how much they put out there for kind of small 10 to 12-year-old
Yeah,
kids to think about.
definitely. It's actually almost the kind of thing like we're talking about now. It's the kind of thing that as a child you don't really give it much thought, but it's something that you can then revisit when you're a little bit older, and it kind of sheds a whole new light on the experience. Like, I can't imagine playing Ghost of Thornton Hall when I was like 12. I'd have been like, what's going on? No, I mean, that's the thing, though. I probably wouldn't have thought much of it at age 12.
It's definitely such a different vibe. And I don't know, and I guess as someone who has kind of been in that kind of like sciencey environment, like hearing him talk about kind of the guilt of that experience after, and then like now that you're with this other animal and like living in this harmonious relationship, it was just interesting. Like they definitely show both sides kind of. It's like it's an interesting little thought piece, and it always again makes like it just makes the whole experience also just so much like kinder, because I think he also mentions he's so done with like humanity as a whole after living in that kind of a lab experience. Which I think can be it depends on like where you're working, and I think that's also why I want to know more. Like I want to know what it was that he was doing that left him so disgusted and upset.
Right.
Just him and Isis, like, oh, I love them.
It's really
Honestly,
sweet.
what a mood.
Isis is just so adorable. Like I love them so much.
Isis is gorgeous. Such a
We stand.
girl.
She really is.
So maybe since I didn't read the journal and you did, Maddie, so what was the deal? Like Isis was trained to know how to do all of the same commands as Trapper Dan's pig. Like, did Julius talk about how he was like trying to follow?
No, so he was just there, and Isis, he just found out that she was really smart and started picking up on his verbal cues and things that he would say, and so he started noticing that she like associated certain words with movements, and that he could train her, and so sorry, words. He noticed that he could build like obstacle courses in his house and teach her how to navigate them through them, and she seemed to really enjoy it because it was some kind of intellectual stimulating activity for her, who was just kind of like living in this house with him, and he felt like she was thankful when he did it for her because it gave her something else to keep her engaged with. It's kind of one of those Nancy Lucks out in this circumstance.
Right. Very convenient.
But they also make a lot of references to things that happened to Julius McQuaid too, that then Isis does, like the wolf or the coat. He gets trapped outside without his jacket on at some point, and like Isis is like worried he hasn't come back, and she brings him his coat. And you're like, oh, and like little things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about this person in the past, very recently, in fact, actually, but never before have I been so like smacked in the face by the same voice actor over and over and over again until I heard how many voices that Amy Broomhall is doing in this game.
What all does she do?
She, I know for sure, does the mom, Mrs. Farringdale, when you called them to find out what happened. I know she does Nikki Sabatini. I know she does Brenda Southwaite when you called them about getting locked in the sauna. I'm pretty sure there's one more, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she was all over it.
Literally everyone I feel like her hires for voice acting just is so amazing on a lot of
multi-talented.
They're
able to keep coming back. Well,
the other like big thing for me that I like legitimately forgot about was the culprit's reasoning for this. Like I forgot that Yanni was out here trying to find uranium for his government.
Oh my god, me too.
And like I was like, I could have sworn he was just out here trying to like scare the competition away.
Me too.
I was convinced that was the end. I was like, wait, what?
Same. It really threw me.
And it was weird because too, in the middle of the game, I was like, it's really bizarre because this game really is setting up for some kind of mineral deposit plot line. And I was like, that just doesn't pay off. And then like the end hit me and I was like, oh, like this is intentional, but like it's definitely present, but it's not present at the same level as many of the other things that are talked about. And so it still like hit me in the face when you encounter it at the end.
Right.
And I'm like, huh, the more you know. Also, in terms of like lodges and other resorts that Nancy has saved from hauntings and other things and that brought them great business, like there's a difference between someone wanting to visit a haunted like ranch/mansion for funsies versus someone seeing a lodge house in the middle of Canada that is sitting on top of a uranium pile that has experienced multiple explosive encounters because foreign governments are interested in again the elements used for like atomic weaponry.
Right.
Like, if I saw that on the news, I would not be like, yeah, let's go hang out there. That seems like a good vacation spot.
Right?
Like that's like they do that so often in the end credits. For like it brought them such good publicity. It's gonna stay open forever, and I'm like, I don't feel like that works here.
Right.
Like this is the one instance where I'd be like, you know what? Let's not go to that location in Canada.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you said, when it's just like a haunting story or whatever, like that can be good for publicity, but this I feel like is a pretty like negative buzz.
Like they were legit explosives. Several people almost died. Like
yeah, and plus add into that the fact that there was food poisoning happening.
Yeah, also that. Yeah, no one's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was fun. One of the guests poisoned everybody else. Let's go. Risk it for the biscuit.
Or the fact that the stairs were iced. I mean, I feel like if that got publicized anywhere, this story would become about like their negligence. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't take care of their staircase. They didn't make sure it was clean or whatever.
And like even finding out that it's sabotage doesn't make me more being like, yeah, you know what?
Well, because it's iced the whole game. Even after the guy like broke his leg, they didn't fix it, and it's the emergency exit.
Right.
Right?
I mean, honestly, I don't think they should have gotten business for it. Because Chantal doesn't deserve it.
I mean, you could argue that it's iced for faster exit strategy.
Oh my god.
Just
Just
go.
slide.
But
Just
slide
slide.
down.
Yeah, Chantal. This
vote
business
that
is.
she hands it back over to Bill
She's not
Kessler's
prepared.
family.
Yeah, let him and Basement Dude run it because I can't remember his name. Again. Like I get the whole Trapper Dan thing. Like that's a draw, but also I still don't really understand what his deal was, just in general. Like I guess he was just a trapper who did
He did weird things.
weird things. Had a pet pig.
He had a pet pig. He built the needle.
For what purpose?
Are these questions answered in like the picture exhibits?
I don't feel like they are because I read all of the pictures at one point.
Okay.
It's more like Trapper Dan and his needle. Trapper Dan loved to catch
Mhm.
exotic fish.
Okay.
Trapper Dan and his family. And you're like, who is Trapper Dan?
I mean, good for him, I guess.
The other thing that like low-key bothers me is if this is really a museum display, I feel like I shouldn't be allowed to steal the snowshoes.
Right.
Mm.
Like, I get that I need them. But isn't this an artifact? Like, are we treasuring the things that Trapper Dan bought us, or are they just like there? Like, also, why was the dinosaur bone not locked up? That seems like it was a much more important thing.
That's so true. Everybody's like getting on to Lou about stealing it, and I'm like, well, you did kind of leave it out in the open.
Also,
Not that he
it's just
should have
like
stolen it, but
that would no one knows it's a dinosaur bone, so they're like, it's just a strange bone he found. Which, like, could you imagine? You're like, yeah, they found this rock once outside, and they thought it was cool, and so it's immortalized forever on our wall. Like, I can't think too hard on it, or else, like, I'm gonna get too confused.
probably for the best. I'm curious what the freaking algorithm even was that Tino was trying to run that survey on. Like, sorry for the random topic change, but
I love the mental image of Tino sitting watching late night detective television infomercials at like 3 in the morning and being like convinced that this is gonna be like the breaking new thing for his agency. Dials up QVC or whatever the detective version of that is.
Nancy should just send him like ridiculous fake, equipment and be like, oh, this right here is a radar where you can beep and find out if someone's lying. Like, oh, yeah, okay.
It's like the old 90s fib finder gate.
Yes.
It's like also all the responses if you send him like the wrong survey that he's like if this is the only crime they could be convinced of is like infiltrating a circus or something like that. You're like, why are these options? Like
I ended up grabbing a spoiler just because I didn't want to have to keep setting the alarm over and over again to get all of the answers by myself. I got most of them, but I was just getting frustrated. And I was like, you know what?
I don't blame you. But it is kind of like the other ones they are kind of funny when you get them and you're like, okay, interesting. But that's also why it frustrated me so much when he finishes and like the response he gives you is equally as ridiculous as all of the ones that you've gotten before, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
for real.
yeah. Myers-Briggs personality tests, but for your crime likelihood.
Well, did you guys have any other topics you wanted to cover?
The only thing left on my list is the Cursed Guadalupe Red Dot fan fiction, but
Oh,
Katie doesn't want
no.
to talk about that.
God.
No, I'm
They're
kidding.
both middle aged.
See, thank you. Oh my gosh, yes, thank you. They
Red
both seem
Knot
middle-aged.
is like 30 years older than her.
She looks
What?
old to me.
She looks like she's
No.
at least 50.
Thank you.
Oh
Oh
my
my
Yeah, I
gosh,
think
Abby.
she looks like 45.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
she's
I
like
will
up
say,
there.
I replayed it and I was like, I will give you, she seems like she's in her 40s. She's like
I'm not
40 to
legitimate.
45. And Red
I'm
Knot
just-
is like 70, so stop.
No. You
I
look
feel
at the. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the need to clarify for anyone tuning in. I don't like legitimately ship this at all. This started as like a crack conversation.
Yes, it was a crack conversation which turned into a complete joke. But
And then Katie and
No.
I started arguing about how the age of Guadalupe, because I always picture her as this like 60-year-old woman. I will concede
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like maybe over 60. Like I'll concede that, but I feel like she is definitely late 50s.
I absolutely do not think she's a day over 49.
I'll accept 49 as like a reasonable range. I'm just telling you, it's the CGI that's doing great for her wrinkles. I just like the whole vibe. You gotta just like take the whole thing in.
I think it's mostly her voice that makes her sound older. And
That could be it, and the mannerisms too. Like she's
Yes.
definitely talking down to you. And
I was gonna say, I think the only thing that did make me kind of concede that she does seem like she's probably at least in her 40s is she does seem to have like some kind of boomer Gen X vibe. Like it's really weird.
right, she tells you to clean her room before anyone else. Like it's just all these things that make you
Yes.
uncomfortable and give you like someone in an older generation talking down to Nancy.
Yeah, I will give you that.
Loves animals, doesn't like people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like,
She's got those binoculars.
if we're gonna talk about Red Knot, like, match made right here for him.
Mm-hmm.
No, who else? Sorry, I just saw it while I was scrolling through the topic ideas. So you all had to suffer through it one more time.
Cursed thought.
Anything about Red Knot is cursed.
It really
Yes.
is.
Very true.
So creepy. The other thing that was like that made me think of it is that they only appear at weird hours. Like she's only there at
Yes.
weird hours in the morning. Red Knot's only there in the middle of the night to bird
Mhm.
watch. Still not okay with that concept as a whole.
Right.
I also legitimately forgot who Guadalupe was when I started playing. I was like, I've never seen this woman before in my entire life. I was like, no one is ever at this window. Who are you?
Yeah, she's so like she pops in and out. She's actually very, very minor in the big scope of things.
I think she is an interesting character, and like they do interesting things with her, but she's only there for such a short period of time.
Right.
Like both when she's even at the lodge, and then like her stay at the lodge is really short too.
I never really understood that. Like, why introduce a character if she's not going to be there for very long?
Especially with the 3D rendering on them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I think you'd want to get as much use out of that as possible. Like at least with Lou, he doesn't leave until like later in the game. I would say it's probably
Mhm.
like more so the end portion that he leaves. But
and like they're there all like a lot of the times in that room at least.
I didn't feel like that was true in my gameplay.
I mean, I agree with you, but compared to Guadalupe,
I don't know, man. I literally only saw Lou when I needed to see Lou.
that's fair. It was a weird gameplay experience.
Yeah, like I think I met him the first time, and then I think I talked to him one additional time that wasn't necessary when I asked him about the snowshoes. And then to
Shuts
talk to
you
him about the dinosaur bones, and that was it. Like he was never around otherwise. Well.
See, it's at the end. It's always awkward too.
Because I don't want to just like immediately start wrapping it up, you know? I want to make sure, like, are y'all good? Have you said everything?
Did you say your piece?
Right. So are y'all good? Did you say your piece?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, to kind of circle back around to our overall thoughts, I do actually like this game. I don't like it as much as I did the last time, just because there's some weird, like, structural things, especially in the beginning, and with how seemingly at random the characters kind of pop in and out. It can be frustrating to play, I think. But the vibe is there. Like Maddie said, it's really peaceful atmosphere, and the music kind of adds to that. And it's long. This game actually has a lot of meat to it.
Yeah.
And especially at the end there, when you get Trapper Dan's journal and you're like following that, I think it gets a little more complex too, which is interesting.
I would agree.
Yep.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I only had the one word to put in there. So you go ahead.
No, I definitely agree with everything that you said, Katie. I think that pretty much summarizes my thoughts on it. Like, I really enjoy this game, and it's one that I could just kind of like live and hang out in. I think that's how you feel for Danger on Deception Island, and for me, it's just this game. Like, just the vibes are so great. But it's definitely more glitchy and difficult to deal with, like finding the people at times and getting events to happen, which is not something I had ever probably like previously put together. So it was definitely something that took me out of it. But I still enjoy it a lot, and I just love the Isis plotline. It's so adorable.
I think for me, now that I know that I can just sleep through the cooking, it's actually going to go up in my rating. I hate the cooking so much. But I enjoy, because I feel like it's not expected. It feels like one of those games that's kind of like, it's not random. I don't want to say it's random, but it's like not a conventional type of mystery. Like you're literally like tracking down this wolf.
Yeah.
So I like it.
It is definitely something different.
Now that I know that I can skip my least favorite part, go up.
I really recommend it, because I also hate the cooking, and that's what keeps me sane.
Now I know.
Yeah, I don't really have any more input to, on final thoughts. It's good. It's not top tier by any means, but it's good.
Fair enough. And so with that, people, check another podcast.
We're almost to the end.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
I pulled up the list in the middle of the cast, and I was shocked at how far down we are. We seriously only have a handful left.
Oh, it's so sad. It feels like we blew through them.
It really
For real.
does.
But it's been like, what are we? July? We started in January. It's been 6 months.
Yeah,
but it does feel
crazy.
How are we already at the end of this?
I mean, to be fair, time is fake at this point.
Yes.
In the world anyway.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Honestly,
maybe
though,
we'll tack on one at the end and play mid. We'll suffer through it.
I thought about that.
Just the dialogue alone brings you an extra month of life.
Honestly.
And cutscenes are the other one. Fine.
Lord. Well, appropriately, next week is the chronological successor to White Wolf of Icicle Creek, which is Legend of the Crystal Skull.
Very excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I played this game not too long ago, but I don't think it was that recent either, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Let's hope it rains. It's like the perfect one for that.
Yes.
Right? Really kind of is. but like drizzly rain,
Yes.
not like huge Florida thunderstorms like we get, Maddie.
I need it to just be black outside so that I can see the screen. That's my own one goal.
Yes.
We have to listen to her interactives like warning at the beginning.
Yes.
Draw the shades if it's daylight. Anyway, so we will be back next week to talk about Legend of the Crystal Skull with our special guest for that week. But thank you so much, Abby, for being here once again. I'm just so grateful that you even decided to bring the whole fandom together with this playthrough. It's been really fun, so thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for playing and participating. Because it's a lot of fun to like talk. It's fun to talk about the games in general, but I think it's a lot fun when you're all like in the same game. So it's been really fun to listen and learn from everybody. And
yeah, just seeing everything. It's been so great. So
That's been so awesome.
It's been so much fun.
And you know, another thing that I really love about it is because we're all like playing the games in sequence, it's like there's nobody really who's getting left out, like as far as I can pretty much make a joke or a reference to any game and pretty much everybody's gonna get it because all of the games are fresh in our memories now at the same time. So it's really fun. So yeah, it's really exciting stuff. I'm so glad you were able to join us tonight, Abby.
Yes, thanks so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, as for the three of you and our listeners, wherever they are, I hope you have a wonderful night.
You too.
And I will talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.